So the Battle of Fisher's Hill. The Battle of Fisher's Hill is going to be a Union victory. It was fought September 21st to the 22nd. 21st to the 22nd, 1864, near Strasburg, Virginia, as part of the Valley Campaigns of 64 during the U.S. Civil War. In spite of its strong defensive position, the Confederate Army of Lieutenant General Jubal Early was defeated by the Union Army of the Shenandoah, commanded by Major General Phillip Sheridan. So Sheridan defeats Jubal Early. Down goes Jubal Early. Sheridan had almost 35,000 men in the Shenandoah Valley, opposing Early with just under 10,000. Early, following the Third Battle of Winchester, took a strong position. His right rested on the north branch of the Shenandoah River. The left flank of his infantry was on Fisher's Hill. Confederate cavalry was expected to hold the ground from there to Little North Mountain. Major General George Crook advised Sheridan to flank this position. His command was assigned to move along the wooded slopes of the mountain to attack the cavalry. So, I have not yet begun to fight. That's John Paul Jones. That's the U.S. Revolution. This is the second U.S. Revolution, the Civil War is. I have not yet begun to fight. Don't fire until you see the whites of their eyes. The revolution, according to Leon Trotsky, is forever. The revolution, according to Leon Trotsky, is like a diamond. It's forever. The Battle Crook's attack began 4 p.m. September 22. I thought it was 21. Crook's attack. So September 22nd. We'll have to write that down. This is right after the Third Battle of Winchester. So you had Sheridan, who beat the shit out of this motherfucking Jubal Early in the Third Battle of Winchester. And so he goes and Jubal Early goes and runs to Fisher's Hill. But Fisher's Hill doesn't protect him at all. The infantry attack pushed the Confederate troopers out of the way. Major General Stephen Dodson Ramseur tried refusing the left flank of his division. Crook and Brigadier General James B. Ricketts' division of Horatio G. Wright's 6th Corps struck Ramseur's line, pushing it in. Wright's remaining divisions and XIX Corps, 19 Corps broke the southern line. Aftermath. The Confederates fell back to Waynesboro, Virginia. When they lost the Battle of Winchester, they had to run through the streets of Winchester during their defeat. The first Battle of Winchester was a Confederate victory. The second Battle of Winchester was a Confederate victory too. The first battle was Stonewall Jackson. Stonewall Jackson standing there like a stone wall. That was May 25th, 1862. That was actually the climax of Stonewall Jackson's. 62 Americans were killed, 68 Confederates were killed. That was back in the innocent days of 62. By the time 65 rolls around, it's like fucking shit. 4 fucking years of war. Goddamn, Thomas, Jonathan, cross-eyed, not courage, confused. So this is Stonewall Jackson. His name is actually Thomas Jonathan, like mine, only without the first H, but Jonathan. So good old Thomas Jonathan. Good old Thomas Jonathan Stonewall Jackson. He was cross-eyed. One eye's looking up to the heavens. The other eye is looking God knows where. He had no idea what was going on. He was just confused. That's not courage. Just because he can't see what the hell is going on. He's actually going to get killed by the Civil War, by the Union, by America. 1863. He got shot. They amputated his arm. Then he died of pneumonia. It's always fucking pneumonia that gets you. It's always that goddamn pneumonia. Oh my God, he's got pneumonia. Oh my God. So that's not courage, that's confused, that's Stonewall Jackson. A lot of fanfare to him, but I guess, there was a lot of confidence in the beginning. But 63 rolls around, then there is no more Stonewall Jackson. The Second Battle of Winchester is June 13th to the 15th. So almost to the day, but like a year and a month later. This is part of the Gettysburg campaign. So Lee has got the Union on the rope. Lee's got the Union by the nose, kicking its ass all the way. I'm going to kick your ass all the way up to fucking Vermont. I'm going to kick your ass down to Florida, over to Texas, all the way up to fucking Vermont. And then that's going to be Dick Ewell's going to capture Milroy. and that's a Confederate victory. 95 Americans are going to get killed. 47 Confederates are killed. So there was more Americans killed than Confederates, almost twice as many. But back in the first Battle of Winchester, less Americans were killed. 68 versus 62. More Confederates had died. Now, Patton's grandpa was there at the Third Battle of Winchester. Patton's grandpa, Patton of World War II fame. And this is the Shenandoah Valley. So you had Jubal Early miscalculated. Jubal Early thought that Sheridan was being a peacenik because he wasn't attacking him, even though he had, greater men and a better position. But Sheridan was just to protect the Shenandoah Valley once Jubal Early was out of the Shenandoah Valley. So he's being patient. He bid his time. He was also protecting D.C. versus the Army. So he had just positioned himself in between D.C. and the army of Jubal Early. And it was like 14,000 men, I've heard. So the overall 5,000 to 4,000, 5,000 Americans were killed at the Third Battle of Winchester. 4,000 Confederates were killed at the Battle of Winchester. So the Third Battle of Winchester, almost 10,000 people, 4,000 of the 14,000 of the Rebs. So that was a third of the Rebs were cut down. Leonidas Polk is the one that raped Kentucky first. That motherfucking rat bastard fuck Leonidas Polk. You know who that son of a bitch is? Leonidas Polk. That motherfucker. I bet you he's a goddamn some sort of fucking clergyman. He raped Kentucky first. So, both Lincoln and the Confederates wanted Kentucky on their side, but neither one of them wanted to invade Kentucky and force Kentucky to their will. No, this is our state. We're going to, choose our own affairs. And Kentucky had chosen neutrality to begin with. But guess what? Leonidas Polk was a bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of Louisiana. Protestant Episcopalian. These fucking motherfucking Christian sons of bitches. Thinks he could just go into other people's nation states or republics and invade them, attack them, rape them. He went ahead. It's a violation of their national sovereignty. He ain't no Republican, motherfucking piece of shit. So Leonidas Polk is going to rape Kentucky first, and then that's when U.S. Grant, I want to say, got into Kentucky right away. Sheridan stayed by D.C., stayed between D.C. and Jubal Early's army, 40,000 versus 15,000. So Sheridan had the numbers. He had over, almost 3 to 1 when it came to the amount of men that he had. So Sheridan wasn't being a peacenik. He wasn't being bashful. He could use the army. He's actually fought in a whole bunch of battles. He fought in the Battle of Booneville, Mississippi, Battle of Perryville, October 8th, 1862, the Battle of Stones River, the Tullahoma campaign. He was part of the Tullahoma campaign with Rosecrans. He was also part of the Battle of Berryville, which ended September 4th, 1864. So the Battle of Berryville just fucking happened. Now he's got, the Battle of Winchester, the Third Battle of Winchester, and he's got the victory at Fisher's Hill, September 22nd. He used scorched earth tactics. Scorched earth tactics. That's just like, what's his fucking face? Sherman. It's just like goddamn Sherman. William Tecumseh. Chief Takatak, his basic plan was ambush, skirmish, then retreat. Ambush, fight, retreat. Ambush, fight, retreat. That's Chief Takatak of the Paiwan. Sheridan had fought in all these other campaigns. The Battle of Chattanooga, November 25th, 1863. And he shouted, "Remember the Chickamauga," which is another campaign. Battle of the Wilderness was May 5th to the 6th, 1864. So Sheridan has been in this motherfucking fight since the beginning. My God, campaign after campaign. There's about a dozen. What about 7 or 8 campaign battles, major fucking battles that he won. And then he's also going to win the Battle of Fisher's Hill, September 22nd, 1864. Oh, Leonidas Polk. Leonidas, you piece of shit. You fucking, no, you traitorous son of a bitch. Oh, he's got that hair's all swooshed over. Oh, I got my hair all swooshed over. Fucking stupid ass looking motherfucking pile of fucking shit. You better stay the fuck away from. If I'm having a barbecue, Leonidas Polk, you are now welcome at my barbecue. You got me? The Civil War Trust and his partners acquired and preserved 362 acres of the battlefield. Then you have, what? You had this and that and the other, and what the fuck ever. Like, goddamn, you know. Battle of Fisher's Hill. About 35,000 present for duty. 29,000 engaged versus 9,500. So that was a goddamn motherfucking, that was a fucking turkey shoot, wasn't it? That was a shooting fish in a barrel. 528 Americans got killed, and 1,234 Confederate fucking white supremacist piles of shit got killed too. Jefferson Davis was allowed to live. Abraham Lincoln, I guess the government of Abraham Lincoln carried on, but Jefferson Davis was allowed to live and carry on his fucking bullshit. When did Jefferson Davis eventually... Jefferson Davis is going to die in 89, 65, so 20 fucking 4 years later. For 24 years, he got to be like, well, actually, it wasn't the way that you think that it was. I wasn't being a dumb racist piece of... Where's my bottle of water? God damn it. 9,500 versus 29. I mean, he just lost. He had 14,000, lost 4,000 at the Battle of Winchester. So they took a chunk, but I mean, there's 5,000, I guess, in a way, 1-to-1. But since the army is bigger, if you're losing 1-to-1, you're actually like winning because they have less people. They're going to run out of people before you do. And even if you lose as many as them, let's say 14,000, that's all of them. That's all of them. You got 4,500, 14,000, so that leaves you at least with 30,000. You still got 30,000 people that still get to live. It's a crude math. I heard that was the kind of math they're using in Ukraine. And also, socks and some money. The Russian soldiers are turning on Russia for just a clean pair of socks and a couple of bucks. 1889. So Davis embarked on a steamboat in New Orleans on a cold rain. He was going to his Briarfield plantation, fell ill, didn't go see a doctor. Employee telegrammed Verena, took a steamer to meet his vessel. Davis diagnosed with acute bronchitis complicated by malaria. When he returned to New Orleans, Davis's doctor, Stanford E. Chaley, pronounced him too ill to travel. He was taken to the home of Charles Erasmus Finner, the son-in-law of J.M. Payne, where he died 12:45 a.m. on Friday, December 6, 1889, in the presence of several friends and holding Verena's hand. Oh, what a punk-ass bitch. God damn, that Jefferson Davis was a punk-ass bitch. He got to live for another 24 fucking years. What about that John Surratt Jr.? That son of a bitch got to live. He ran for 2 fucking years. He was part of the campaign to kill. He was one of the Lincoln conspirators. His mother was convicted, and she was hung. She owned the boarding house. He was the main guy. He's the one that he eluded arrest following the assassination by fleeing to Canada and then to Europe. He avoided the fate of the other conspirators who were hanged. He served briefly as the pontifical Zouave, but was recognized, arrested. He escaped to Egypt. Goddamn, this John Surratt is like moving around like John, what's that motherfucker that killed, they say he killed James Earl Ray. James Earl Ray was in Mexico, in Canada, in London, and now he's in Egypt. Goddamn, how the Confederates could fucking move that easily all throughout the world. Eventually arrested, extradited. By the time of his trial, the statute of limitations had expired on most of the potential charges, which meant that he was never tried. The whole possibly killed the fucking president. That's not something to, we should find out who was part of the CIA. How many people is part of that? We should hang every single motherfucker that killed JFK. Jesus fucking Christ. They killed our fucking president. You would think if there's one person that we would know who killed the person would be the damn president. We don't even care about the president. My God, we don't have universal health care. We don't even care about each other. If we don't give a fuck about our president or Ukraine, do we give a fuck about anybody or anything? He was born in 1844. John Harrison Surratt Sr., Mary Elizabeth Jenkins Surratt, Congress Heights. He was a part of the thing. He was went to Montreal, Canada East, Saint Laborie, where a Catholic priest, Father Charles Boucher, gave him sanctuary. Surratt remained there while his mother was arrested, tried, hanged. for the conspiracy. Aided by ex-Confederate agents Beverly Tucker, Edwin Lee, Surratt, disguised, booked passage under a false name. He landed at Liverpool in September, where he lodged and dodged in the oratory at the Church of the Holy Cross. Surratt would later serve for a time in the Ninth Company of the Pontifical Zouaves in the Papal States under the name John Watson. What are you talking about? You're saying, see, from the Pope until 1870. So he was like a goddamn Papal Zouave uniform. Damn. So he became a soldier. Ran off to motherfucking... An old friend, Henry Beaumont de Sainte Marie, recognized Surratt, notified papal authorities and U.S. minister in Rome, Rufus King. November 7th, 1866, Surratt was arrested, sent to the Velletri prison, escaped and lived with the supporters of Garibaldi, who gave him safe passage. He went to Italy, posed as a Canadian citizen named Walters. He booked passage to Alexandria, Egypt, was arrested by U.S. officials there. In Egypt, November 23rd, 1866, still in his Pontifical Zouaves uniform, he returned to the U.S. on the USS Swatara to the Washington Naval Yard in early 1867. Damn! He got to run all over the fucking world. 18 months after his mother was hanged, he was tried in a Maryland civilian court, not a military commission, so it was different. Ex parte Milligan, something about ex parte Milligan. 1866 landmark decision, military tribunals, citizens. Okay, so David Carter presided over Surratt's trial, and Edwards Pierrepont conducted the federal government's case against him. Surratt's lead attorney, Joseph Habersham Bradley, admitted Surratt's part in plotting to kidnap Lincoln, but denied any involvement in the murder plot. After 2 months of testimony, Surratt was released after a mistrial. 8 jurors voted not guilty, 4 voted guilty. Damn. The statute of limitations on charges other than murder had run out, and Surratt was released on bail. Get on out of here, you. You only tried to kill Abraham Lincoln, one of the greatest goddamn... I mean, fuck, we have so many fucking douchebag presidents. You killed one of the good ones. One of the 3 good ones. What the fuck, John Surratt? Small courthouse, Rockville, Maryland. Let's see. He said he was part of the scheme to kidnap Lincoln, but he said he didn't know anything about the assassination plot. He was in Elmira. He disavowed any participation by the Confederate government, reviled Weichman as a perjurer who's responsible for his mother's death, said his friends had kept him from the seriousness of her plight in Washington after that revelation. It was reported in Washington that the band played Dixie, and a small concert was improvised with Surratt at the center of female attention. 3 weeks later, Surratt was to give a second lecture in Washington, but it was canceled because of public outrage. Surratt later took a job as a teacher in St. Joseph Catholic School in Emmitsburg, Maryland, 1872. Surratt married Mary Victorine Hunter, a second cousin of Francis Scott Key. The couple lived in Baltimore and had 7 children. Sometime after 1872, he was hired by the Baltimore Steam Packet Company. He rose to freight auditor and ultimately treasurer of the company. Surratt retired from the steamship line in 1914, died of pneumonia. 1960, it's always fucking pneumonia. That's what Stonewall Jackson died of, and it's what John Surratt Jr. died of. 7 children, what the fuck? Second cousin of Francis Scott Key, what the fuck? He's buried in New Cathedral Cemetery in Baltimore. Yeah, good old John Surratt. Only had 7 kids, so he's like a fucking RFK, only the exact opposite. He's like a Hitler. He's like a RFK Hitler. He's like, instead of being a good, he's like one of the worst of America. And he got to raise a whole big old fucking family, because, you know, that's what America, that's what the... Oh my God, we are so fucked. Rebs retreated through the streets of Winchester, Virginia. The second battle, they just captured. There was just a. So there you go. That's the Battle of Fisher's Hill. The baby battle of Fisher Hill. You know, Tom Brady has thrown the most touchdowns ever. You know who's caught the most? You know who's made the most? Jerry Rice. Tom Brady and Jerry Rice. Oh, hell yeah.